So moving away from the card tricks, this one now let's want to look at the more into the kind of mind reading territory with this.
Which is more where you're moving now as well.
It's more where I'm moving, and it's there's a my own little sort of take on out of this world, and just some sort of direct stuff with use of sort of suggestion and just using purely psychological techniques.
Still with cards.
Still with cards.
Still with cards, but much more in the mind.
Absolutely. So, and normally, if I'm doing both types of material, I'll do this card stuff for a while, and then I'll say, okay, I think we're kind of tuned in now. Let's just try this without any of the sleight of hand. Let's just try this now with our minds. I always get them to take it absolutely seriously. I will say, we'll do this. If you want to stop at any point, you just tell me to stop, and I'll stop. I'll back off. Anything that gets them going, okay, and gives it space, makes it real. And the fact that you can do that straight after a bunch of card tricks, and people will still buy the fact, and still using a deck of cards, and they will buy the fact that you are now doing the real stuff if you just give it space and separate it conceptually from.
So again, it's creating the drama, the performers believing it and creating the drama themselves, so the audience are going with them.
Exactly. And if you're doing the mind reading, to first of all believe in your mind how it is that you're doing it, right? And maybe you get images, maybe you get a psychic flash, or maybe you're reading it from their signals, which is how I do it. And then to genuinely really do that, really read it from their signals, and give them the moment, let them feel what you're doing. Rather than just, oh, I got it, oh, how did he get it? I don't know, maybe he looked at a card, maybe he did something dodgy.
So really, you're letting them work out how
you're letting them work it out, yeah. If I get someone to think of a word, a name or something, which sets the name, Karen, rather than saying, you're going to give it away by, making tiny movements with your face and mouth, I will get them just to say it in your mind over and over again. Just lift your chin up slightly and just keep on saying it over and over again as if you could turn up the volume and you're yelling. It begins with like a g or a k sound at the beginning. Is that right?
So you're not telling me that you're looking at this.
But I'm in my mind. I'm doing it, and they go, I can see what he's doing. He's reading it, and they just
obviously you needed to see my throat, so you told me to lift my chin and
And sometimes that is genuinely what I am doing a lot of the time, and you will do that. And you do look for pupil dilation, and you do look for those tiny things. But if you're a step ahead, and you know the information, and you're just trying to sell it as something like that, then you genuinely believe that you're doing it, and you really do look for it, and don't spell it out, and make sure then that that way they have the moment that the mind reading is happening. They go away remembering and seeing you, being able to remember you doing the thing that is the mind reading, actually reading people's signals, or that moment they remember, as opposed to them just remembering the card being turned over or turning the pad round and the information's there.
Yeah.
I made this point in pure effect that people, if they're going to see a mind reader, the one thing that they're not normally shown is mind reading actually taking place. What they see is somebody writing something down on a pad that he couldn't have known.
Yeah.
As opposed to, so if you watch a hypnosis show, you see the trance happening, you see the process. And a lot of mind readers don't do that. And because I got a background in hypnosis, I'm used to having to spend time to make things happen with people. And I think that makes mind reading more convincing. So having said that, this is still card effects with much more of a mind reading theme. The out of this world is just my sort of twist on it, and then we'll go into some of the stronger stuff.
Lovely.
Okay. Splendid. Cam, let me try something with you. There was a medium in the 1930s who said she could tell the colour of cards from looking at the backs. The whole thing turned out to be a hoax because the guy that was in charge of it and shuffling the cards was in cahoots with her, and the whole thing was a fix. So I want to try this with you because it is interesting. Can you just give them a shuffle and a mix? And that'd be perfect.
Yeah.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
All right. Excellent. Okay. Marvellous. All right. So I'm going to run through. I'll show you a couple of cards, and you just tell me what colour you think they are. Those five are the same, actually. What colour is that?
Red.
Red. Very good. And that one?
That's red.
I want you to do the same with the whole deck. All right. I will look the other way. So you don't think I'm not going to be able to see what you're doing or anything. You run through the deck and you take out all the ones you think are black and all the ones you think are red, and put them into 2 piles. All right, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Just a pile there and a pile there.
Okay.
Go for it. One at a time.
From the top.
Mm-hmm. 2 piles like that. Quick as you can. Trick is not to think about it.
Okay,
Think about it, you get it wrong. Are you thinking rhythmically? Are you thinking like 2 there, 3 there?
No.
Or are you trying to get a feel off each card? Keep going, don't stop.
I don't know really. I'm just doing it.
You can take them out of the middle. They don't need to come one by one off the top. If you want to come from anywhere you like, you can, but just quick as you can.
Okay, all right.
Don't think. Da, da, da. Excellent. Brilliant. Do you want to change any of these with any of those?
Oh no.
Sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So if I said to you, what colour is that? What would you say?
I'd say it's black.
Okay. And if I said to you, what colour is this one I'm looking at, what would you say?
I'd say black.
Black. It's very good. The other one, I think, it's only a 50-50 chance, but you've been doing well so far, is red. Sadly, not so good. Not so good. But that's only 50-50. You don't want to change any of the others?
No.
Turn them over, see how you did. Is that perfect? Is that every single one?
Yeah. So this is a sort of streamlined Out of This World, is that?
Yeah. I like Out of This World a lot, and I've just tried different ways of doing it. What I wanted here was a version where, instead of in the more traditional methods where at some point they have to stop and swap the covers around and carry on, or do it into 4 piles or whatever, the effect that I wanted in my mind was take a deck of cards and just as quick as you can, deal all the ones you think are black and all the ones you think are red, and then you turn them over and you've got them right. It's not perfect, and it's still a kind of an idea in progress, but I like it, and I'll show you how it works. I'll do it from a shuffled deck. All right. Pick up the deck and I do Leonard Green's angle separation, which again you can get off his tapes in more detail. But essentially, as I'm looking through the deck and talking and saying, do you believe in any kind of psychic ability, and just keep them chatting, I'm separating the cards into blacks and reds. The reds I'm placing like this. The blacks I'm placing like that. The reds I'm placing like that. And as you go through the deck, talking about this and having a conversation with them, it's quite easy. You're just counting, apparently just counting the cards. And if I act as if I am counting them, it just looks completely fair.
Yeah.
A perfectly natural thing that you might do at the beginning of a trick. Then you end up in a position where you need to cut them. So I do this and do that as we're just talking, and that just kind of gets missed. But you now are starting the trick rather with the cards separated, right? And I say maybe it's something like there was a medium in the 1930s who could apparently tell the colours of cards just from looking at the backs. And you set up the whole spiel. I now get you to shuffle the cards, which might seem a bit dangerous, but as long as you do an overhand shuffle, this is something I read again in the Crimp, Jerry Sanovitz's magazine. If you do an overhand shuffle, or try it, give them an overhand shuffle. As thoroughly as you like. Excellent. If you want, or alright. Let's have a look. Alright, now that's the least, because possibly because you did it twice. I would need to do that, alright? But alternatively, if you take a deck that is like that and give it a thorough shuffle, so I wouldn't stop you from doing it again because you asked, but normally people will do that and put it down. What have you got? Exactly the same. This isn't my idea. This is, but it works very well for starting off Out of This World. So, and if there's a few in the middle that are around the wrong way, all right, like this. Here's what you do. You take the deck back off them, So they've shuffled the deck,
Mhm.
and you want to remind them at the end they shuffled. So I normally say, now what happened in the experiment was that the person that shuffled the deck, in your position, was in league with the medium, and he didn't really shuffle them, and she knew the order they were in. It was all fake. Here you're going to do the whole thing yourself, so it's, you know, there's no fakery. So it just, they remember that they shuffled the deck at the beginning without you having to spell it out. Also, in order to get them to do an overhand shuffle, I don't say do an overhand shuffle. I take the deck and I say, give them a mix, and I just mime that, and you know, they'll naturally do that. So I take the deck back, and I need to now separate them back into the colours. So I say to you, okay, so like if I said to you, what colour are those three? What would you say?
Red.
Red. And they are. People generally say red first, and they will normally say red again. They'll normally keep with the same colour for a while rather than change it. Point is, it doesn't really matter. All that's going to happen is I'll be like, yeah, and I'll put them back there. So I'm just slowly getting the deck back into order. So any ones that are in the wrong place, just fish them up. Say what colour are those? Doesn't matter if they get it right or wrong. Put them back where they're supposed to be. So when you come to start the trick now, it's back in that order, but they've shuffled. They've just shuffled, and yet the deck's in perfect order.
Mhm.
Okay. Now rather than counting and trying to keep track of where the middle of the deck is, which you need to know, I do this. I give them a spring. Have a last sort of look through, and this is all just casually as we're chatting. And as I gather them up, I spring this bottom half the other way, like that. So you will need the deck bridged, like that, and I spread the cards out, like so. And if you mess them up a bit, I can see where the break is, it's there,
Mhm.
but you can't, it's not immediately obvious. And I say, now quick as you can, without thinking about it, just start to deal the cards into two piles, reds and blacks, alright? Like this, wherever you like. And again, you mime from the end, otherwise they're going to start pulling out from here. So mime that it's coming from the end by, you know, by giving an example like that. Quick as you can, into two piles. Don't think about it. Go, quick as you can. Now you're going to do this, as soon as you keep going, as soon as you get to that middle bit, all I'm going to do, rather than having to stop you and say, now change the colours around or anything like that, all I'm going to do is say, so just pause there for a moment. I wouldn't actually stop you, but you've now reached that halfway point. All I need to say is, oh, they don't need to come off the top, you can pull them out from the middle or any way you like. Because these are now all the same colours, it doesn't make any difference now. Alright?
Right.
So, as soon as that halfway point is reached, I just say, you know, they don't have to come off the top. I haven't specifically told you they've got to come off the top, so that seems very fair. So now just pull them out wherever you like.
Alright, chunks.
Now that seems so fair. You've shuffled the deck.
Mhm.
You'll remember now just doing this out of a deck of cards and put them into two piles. Now this is where the bridges are going to make the bridge in the deck is going to make this a lot easier. I'm going to square these both up, and hopefully on camera we'll be able to see. There's a nice big wedge. If not, trust me, there is. We can't see it, but there's a nice big
Mhm.
break at the sides of each deck. Yeah, of each half. Now here's what you do. You go to this one first, and you say, okay, you know, did that feel right? Are you happy? Do you want to change any round? Of course you can if you want, because these are all the same. So if they want to take any out of here, all you've got to do is make sure they go in the same half here. So if they want to do that or something, that's fine. It doesn't make any difference at all, because these are all the same colour. If they reach in and pull one out of the bottom half of this,
Yeah.
don't let them put it there. So okay, stick it in there somewhere, and offer them the bottom half of this. So it doesn't matter. It's all going in the same way. They can do whatever they like. Just got to make sure they stay in the same half. So you come over here and you say, okay, so for example, if I put one there, what colour do you think that is? And what I've done is lifted it straight up at where that break is, which you cannot miss. It's a great big hole in the side of the deck, both sides. And I put one down like that. And as if I'm just marking the place, I return that like this. I don't put it back on top, but I leave it stepped over to the side. Alright?
Mhm.
So that marks the place where the colours change. So what colour do you think that is?
Black.
Black, okay. And then here I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to kind of do half a Charlier cut and do that, and take that one off there. So I'm taking the bottom card of the top half by letting the rest fall there and saying, what colour do you think this is that I'm looking at here? You say whatever you think.
Red.
Red, which you saw it. And I'll say, well, that one's right. So I'm going to put that one face up. I'm going to do the same thing that I've done here, but I'm going to keep attention here on the table. So as if I'm squaring these back up, but I don't. I hold them in the same position like that.
Mhm.
Alright? But I'm keeping attention here, so now I've got this the same as that. and I say, well, yeah, that one was right. What did you say for this one?
Yeah, I said red for that one as well.
You said red for that one, so that's going to be wrong, so it's going to be black. Either way, you build up a little bit of tension on this card, nothing too much, they're forgetting the fact you're still holding on to these. I turn it over, and now you need an offbeat to do the move, alright? So you create the tension, you turn it over, then you're like, you're wrong. But actually it was only a 50-50 chance, and everything about you relaxes. So you build it up, you're wrong, or you're right. But actually it was only a 50-50 chance, and you create an offbeat by dropping your tone of voice and everything. And here's when you do the move. What you're apparently going to do is turn that over, and then just spread both of these out. But you come in with these, you go on top of this for a moment, and I'm going to take the two left-hand packets and the two right-hand packets, and they're going to separate. In the same movement, oops, I spread them out like that. Right? Let me, I'll do that at full speed. It's all in the timing. No, wrong way around. So it's this, this. So you're in that position, right? You've got this in your hand like that. You have a little bit more room on the table, so this will be a little bit cramped. That's like that. You've turned that one, you've put that one face up, and you're saying, what did you say for this one?
I said red for that one.
Red, let's have a look. At is black. That is only a 50-50 chance, alright? Do you want to change any more of these around? Now that was all done on the offbeat, but that's the whole trick is now done, alright? If they do want to change any more, you're actually a bit stuck, but I like to offer them that chance just because it flows so much better, and I'd rather have the trick flow and that move be lost than worry about, well, they're now going to get it slightly wrong. If they insist on changing one, there are things you can do. If you're really bold and they say, yeah, I want to change this one, and you go, okay, what do you want to change it with? And they say, this one, you can, if you want, do that and apparently change them, but you don't. You just, yeah, that's a bit dodgy. There's no real reason to do that. Basically, if they insist on changing something at that point, I will go, okay, they want to move one across, so move one across to the other side if you wanted to change one. I'll say just put it round the other way so you can see at the end whether or not you were right on that one, because that's going to be wrong. But because you're doing a mind reading piece here and not a magic piece or whatever, it doesn't matter. They'll be like, oh, I should have left that one where it was.
Should have stuck with their original instincts.
Should have left it where it was, and that's fine if they think that.
Yeah.
But most of the time, you just gauge a person right, and they won't change it. Or you don't offer them the chance, and you say something else as you spread them out. Like, that was only a 50-50 chance. What the chances of the whole deck being right are, I don't know. As long as you're saying something to keep them interested as you spread them out. Again, the reason for me asking them if they want to change, because beforehand I've asked if they wanted to change when they were still in piles. Spread them out saying, do you want to change any more? It's as if nothing's happened. They're still at that place where they're being asked if they want to change anything, as if nothing's happened. And then you got it. They can turn them over themselves, and that's it. So it's just another in a whole series of ways of doing Out of This World. I don't know if it's better than any others, but it's a cute move, and it allows you to do, I think, a very streamlined, as you said, presentation of that effect, which I love.
Very clear.
Thank you very much. We'll continue with the sort of the other sort of mind reading effects, some of which are purely psychological, some of which are physical in method like that.
Right.
This next one is 2 people, 2 cards, and it's a nice way. I'll explain when we're done. Let's watch it.
Okay.
All right, let me just try something with the 2 of you that may genuinely not work, but just go with me. Don't try and catch me out. But on the other hand, try and keep a poker face and not give too much away. All right. I'm going to ask you. I'm going to riffle through this. I just want you to get a card. So think of one, or stop me somewhere, or say stop somewhere.
Stop.
Sure. That one. You happy?
Yeah.
Remember what it is? Just visualize that. Saskia. Just think of one. Just think of the card. If you can sort of visualize it there, as if you can just sort of see it. You've got one? Alright, okay. I'll try this with the 2 of you. Yours actually is more difficult, because I can kind of predict the sort of card I think Saskia may go for. Please don't change your mind. Let me think. That for you. think that one for you. I think. What was the card you thought of?
3 of Hearts.
What was the card? Don't tell me. Can I change yours?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be the. Maybe. No, maybe I won't. Maybe I won't. I'm going to kick myself if it was the other one. What was the card you were thinking of?
Queen of Spades.
Queen of Spades. Turn it over. Turn it over.
The top card.
No, this one there, the Queen of Spades. Fantastic. And what was yours? The
3 of Hearts.
3 of Hearts, which is perfect.
How do you do that?
Fantastic. Wow. 2 out of 2.
I thought you were going to have to do some sort of double lift or something sneaky there to
No,
get Saskia.
I did something
Saskia's
sneaky,
Yeah.
but not that.
But, yeah.
The point of this one, and the reason why I came up with this was, I like the idea of putting down a card on the table and saying to someone, name a card,
7 of diamonds.
7 of diamonds, and you turn it over and it's a 7 of diamonds.
Right.
Which isn't, but for a moment there you were
Just
sucked into the illusion. But when it doesn't work, having a way out of it. So a mechanical way of getting out of that if it fails. And it seemed to me that the one way of doing it is to have 2 people pick a card, and to use the other person's as cover for swapping this person's here, the person you just guessed. Now, what happens on that trick is that I make a big thing about the easier one, which is the guy that's glimpsed it, and the card that I've peeked. I make a big thing about that being more difficult than the person here who's just thought of one. I guess the reason why I do that is that if I make a big thing about the girl that's just and you were merely thinking of one, this is so much more difficult. Then maybe they start to go, well, okay, but is it really? Are you going to swap something or are you going to do something? Whereas if I make a big fuss of the other one, they're hopefully going to go away and think, well, actually, I thought the other one was more impressive. She just thought of it and he knew what it was. They're going to do that for themselves, but I underplay it. And also, of course, it does actually make this one seem more impressive simply because I'm making out that it is. So that kind of works. That's the way I do it. So you are going to get a glimpse from this guy. And again, are you? Sorry, I'll talk in a weird high voice for a moment. My voice is still breaking. I'm only 12. I take a lot of vitamins.
Good bit.
It's a good bit, isn't it?
You just kicked in well.
Yeah. So anyway, so you riffle through, and I'm using the Richard Bush peak again, but you can use any peak you like. But the one in peak performances, this card is just lovely. So I do it my way. Either way, they have a look at a card. You're going to know what that one is in a minute. You come back and you say to the other person, will you just think of one for me, any one you like. Now the way that I get the glimpse here, whatever method you're using for getting that peak, when you've got the break that you're going to need, is I say to this person here, just think of the card as if you could see it on the table. And as I do that, that's when I look down and I catch it. In this case, the King of Spades.
You see it on the table.
I literally do see it on the table. I get to look right at it. I put the deck down. What I normally do, as soon as I've got it, I put the deck down and keep on explaining. But now the cards are gone, so that seems very fair. So I know you've got the King of Spades. I don't know what card she's got. All right, but I take a genuine guess at what I think she might think of. Is she going to try and catch me out? Is she going to go for an obvious one? Have we been talking about how some cards are more obvious than others? All those things, and this was born out of genuinely trying to do that trick. And this is the out if it fails. All right.
Right.
So I look at her, and we can talk about all this stuff later. But there are certain cards from experience that I know might kind of work. So let's say I put down a 7 of Hearts for her. All right. Put that one down there. And I come back to... Oh no, I think I'll do this guy first. Doesn't really matter, but I come out. So I put down your King of Spades for you, and I say this is actually more difficult with you. I can kind of guess what I think she might think of. This is more difficult with you because that was just a random choice, but I'll go for that. And for you, and then I pull out the 7. Whatever I think she might say. I put that there. So, then I need to find out what she's thinking of. So I say, what was the card you were thinking of? And the moment she says it, I act like I'm not sure about this one. I'm going to change it. So this is such a tentative one going down that when she says 7 of Hearts, I'm sorry. Can I? Hang on. Let me do. I'm gonna change this one. But I keep them separate. So I put down 7 of Hearts. Let's say she says 3 of Clubs. All right. So what card are you thinking of? 3 of Clubs. And what? No. Can I change your one? I'm going to change that one. And all I do is I fish out the 3 of clubs. Oh, which actually I took that earlier on, didn't I? Okay, 3 of spades. So she said 3 of spades. And I act like I'm going to change this one, and I'm going to change my mind. I don't really change it, I just go, no I won't, I'll stick with my original decision. So I haven't changed anything. So even if she thinks I was going to do something, it's gone. I'm still leaving that card there, but all I've done is brought her card to the face of the deck. Right?
Okay. Yep.
So I fished it out, gone to change it, changed my mind, put it back, and so I'm going to kick myself if it was this one, but what was the card you were thinking of? And you say it,
King of spades.
and I'm going to lateral palm this off the bottom. Alright, so I'm going to slide this into that position, like that. Another favourite position of Leonard Green's, as it were. The cards going in between the crotch of the... Can I say crotch?
Yeah.
You don't mind. Of the second and third finger like that, and the second finger is holding it like that. So that's where it's very difficult to, as it were, keep it up at that angle, but you get the idea. So that slides straight into that palm off the bottom. These, again, this is a nightmare because of the angle we're at. It would actually be like this. So I'm going to shift around. Imagine they're sat opposite me. All right. So, what card is that? King of spades. Turn it over, and as they turn that over, as he comes in to turn that one over, I'm going to swap this card for the one I have in my hand. And the way I do it is, it looks like I pick it up and put it back down again. It's got to look really casual. It's not that I'm turning over the card and swapping it, I just casually pick it up. And the way that I do it is to ignore this card for a moment. My 4th finger here is going to do that onto my lap, covered by my arm, alright? And at the same time I'm going to pick up the one that's palmed in that hand. So, come in, flick that onto my lap, right? And then just pick this one up and put it back down, as if I've just come in and just done that. Alright. So full speed, it's... So you come in and turn that one over, because that's the misdirection to it as well. And I've just done nothing. While you've looked at that one, I just had a quick look at this one. And then I might say to her, and what was your one? She says 3 of spades. A lot of people would have missed that anyway, because I so quickly went over here that they may well believe that's the first time she said it. And there's 3 of spades. So what it allows you to do is to try and genuinely, it's a good way of practicing genuinely predicting the cards someone's going to say. Which with time you can get fairly good at it, but not, it's never going to be perfect, but you can have a certain amount of success, and it's a fun thing to try and second guess that kind of thing. But on all the occasions it goes wrong, with a bit of practice you've got this nice way of covering yourself.
Now you've got another use for the lateral palm that you've got with velvet turnover, I think.
The velvet turnover. The velvet
In your
turnover.
book.
It is. It is. Yeah, I'll show you. It's an alternative to the double lift. It looks. I mean, if I asked you to flip over the top card of the deck, which is the 8 of hearts. Now, if I was doing an ambitious card routine, I might stick the card in the centre somewhere like that, and ask you to turn it over again, and it's still on the top. So it's an alternative way of doing the lift, and the nice thing about it is that you can repeat it again. You can. And it's still, do turn it over, it's still there. So the way it works is this: it's a lateral palm, and you can start easily with that card in the lateral palm, again in that same position, in the crotch. Again, I'm using the word. There's nothing rude about it.
No.
Crotch isn't a dirty word.
Crotch.
And if I talk about a finger in the inside bottom or one on the face, we're talking about the same thing. Otherwise, it's just childish or dildos or anything like that. So that's like that, and this card gets turned over and pushed forward. And what I'm going to do is to turn this card back over, but as I do, I'm going to place it flush with the rest of the deck, and then leave this card in its place, and which looks something
standing proud
like this. Standing, it's just childish. It's sort of sexual innuendo. So like that. You see? And there it is. Now the next bit is the stealing the second one. So as that gets turned back over, you push it as if you're just displaying it slightly, pushing it off the deck. But what it allows me to do is to push the second one out rather cunningly,
Right.
using that finger there. So it gets to there, and then as I come back, I push that back into the lateral palm again, and it's done on the offbeat as that goes back into there like that. So let me show you that in real time. Click, cards back up the top, turn it over, and relax back and steal that out. You see?
Yep.
And you can come forward and do the move again. I am doing this for the camera now more than for you, so you're obviously
Yep,
seeing what I'm
that's
doing.
it.
But and there it is. So you display it like that, relax back, steal again, oops, and and turn over. And you can use it. There's the common trick when you control a card to the top and you do the thing of saying, was this your card? No, and then hold on to it for me, and then you do a whole thing, and then that tends to be their card.
Yeah.
You can use this in the same way. Card can go back in the center. That's a card control I use quite a lot, by the way. Card goes straight back in. You do that again. Straight back in for me. As I close the fan, leaving it sticking out, I do the side jog to there. It seems a really fair thing to do. Take it straight back, whoops, and riffle them onto the table. But in then squaring them up, you can get that break. You can do a riffle shuffle, bring it to the top, or you can pass and bring it to the top. So if I wanted to do that, I might get that to there, and in squaring them up, do the pass.
Okay.
And then you catch their eye for a moment and palm off that top card. Well done. And say, turn over the top card. Was that yours? Flip it over.
Yeah,
Do hang on to it. Do hang on to it. Well, let's try. And you've got a kind of a non-moment of that card being exchanged. I don't know if it's any better than a double lift. It probably isn't. But they turn it over, and they've turned it over themselves. They know it's the top card, and then as an afterthought, you're just like, no, do hang on to it. And they don't catch that at all. That feels very fair. I personally think it's a little fairer than that, just because it disappears for a minute, then it's gone. They really will feel they've just turned it over and taken it themselves, for what it's worth. So that's that. That's the velvet turnover, and here's another trick.
Okay.
Okay, Cam, will you give the cards a shuffle for me? Just riffle them together, if you can.
I'm glad it's not my trick.
That's dreadful.
I know.
Alright, here's what I want you to do. Jack, I'll face the other way, and don't let Cam see what you pick. But you take the deck, and you just go, and you have a look at a card in there.
Okay.
Alright? You just visualise one card. So if it's the Two of Hearts, you make a big Two of Hearts in your mind and remember what that was. Okay?
Okay. I'm gonna
Quick
pick
look,
one
and
up.
put it straight back, right? And look the other way. No looking either. Go on.
Yeah?
Let's square them all up so I can't tell where you did that.
Yeah.
And they give the deck a cut if you like. And actually, your shuffling was so great. Maybe you'd like to give them another shuffle.
That's better.
Fantastic.
Oh,
Super. Okay, here's what we do. I don't want to touch these now. Can you just square them up and put them right in front of you there? Okay, Jack, look at me. What you need to do here is visualise the card, think of it, say it to yourself over and over again. Now, I don't believe in any kind of psychic ability. That's not what this is about. But you will be telling me what the card is. So as much as you can, try and keep an absolute poker face. All right? I will try and get you to tell me what the card is. I will try and get you to tell me what it is, but do everything in your power not to give me any clues.
Okay.
All right? On the other hand, don't try and catch me out. Do genuinely think of it. Also, when I say go, I want you just to start dealing cards one at a time, just like this, face down on the table. When I say now, all right, you take whatever card you've got in your hand and place it right in the centre.
Okay.
All right? Okay. Look at me. Okay, now just start doing them one at a time. Okay. Just in your mind, say the number of the card yourself. Say the number on the card over and again. Okay, there was a hesitation there. I'm guessing it's a picture card. Is that right? Yeah, careful what you're doing. You're smiling, you're giving it away. So it's a picture card. Okay, make the colour in your mind bright and vivid. Just see that clearly in your mind. Just see the card bright and vivid. Again, if that's difficult, I'm going to guess maybe a black card. So we've got a black card, a picture card. Is that right? Can you just Jack? It's going to be Jack Queen or Queen. Thank you. All right, keep dealing. Just look at me. Just keep saying it's just the Queen of something. It's a black Queen now in the middle of the table. Look at me. Look at me. Look at me. Is it a club or a spade? Club or a spade? Just say it. Say the suit. Say it in your mind. Say it. I can't hear you. Say it. Say it. Clubs. Spades. Queen of spades? Is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Was it the Queen of spades?
That's it.
Tell me where I stopped you.
Wow!
Wicked.
Rocket.
Fantastic.
That's great.
That was very good, wasn't it?
It was very confusing.
Mm.
It's shout it, say it, don't say it.
Mm.
It's great.
Excellent.
No idea.
You like it?
Very, very much.
Well, I had a while ago, I had an idea a while back that if you used a stacked marked deck, which this isn't, I'm not using a stacked marked deck here, but this was the idea, that if somebody had a look at a card,
Yeah.
by catching what this one is, you know what this one is. I say they're just in manufacturer's order. It doesn't have to be a clever stack, but if you do that and I see, 5 of spades, then I know this one is the 4 of spades that you're looking at. So if I know that, and the deck's all in order, then if you cut the deck a few times, I will know how many cards down your card is by working it out from what the top card is. Right?
Yeah.
So if I then was talking to you and getting you to sort of concentrate on the card, and talking in rhythm with somebody counting, and I knew that one sentence of patter took 10 cards, whatever, then I could probably manage to juggle counting this and talking to you and getting to stop directly on the card that you were thinking of. Alright? Seemed like a good idea, but I don't
That's not what you.
I don't want to get into mark cards, I don't want to get into stack decks, because it's just a lot of hassle for me. So I thought streamline things a bit and just use a deck that's all the same card. So the deck that's
So a complete deck of Queen of Spades.
every card in the deck
So
is split. It's just
wherever stop.
it's just a lot of mileage from a one-way forcing deck. Every card's the same. That's all there is to it.
That didn't even enter my head that they could be also that. I think it was the focus that you had on the person whose mind that you were trying to get
Well,
to
I mean,
shout
it's-
the card and
It's a great kind of opportunity to just focus on presentation, focus on performance, and just try and get some drama out of nothing, out of a silly one-way forcing deck. So, and that to me is just through absolute committing to the material. If I said to her, just think of the card and visualise it. Oh, is it a res? Oh, I don't know. I'm going to say 4 of spades. It's not the same as creating real conflict with the person. I'm going to make you tell me what it is, but try not to, and really kind of getting into it. You just create so much drama out of nothing.
that seemed So the passion focus that you invested in it it came through to me on the
Sure.
on the film. I was caught up with it. So
Excellent.
that's what you're saying, that you invest that much focus in what you believe you're doing. I suppose the story,
Yeah.
the trick,
I absolutely believe that I'm doing it. I'm really watching for her to give away that it's the Queen of Spades, even though I know what it is. I kind of forget that I know what it is, and I actually try and work it out. If that makes sense.
Yes. Oh yeah.
And you stop the other guy at a
Stop.
moment that just times well with what you're
And
doing.
that gives you complete reign as well, because then you can.
Yeah, don't have to worry about anything.
You can stop at the point of highest drama where you feel
Yeah.
that the things you can stop at.
Exactly. So you play around with what do you want the ending to be? Do you want the ending to be stop now, turn that card over, or do you want it to be here, or do you want it to be soft or a punch or whatever? So you're just playing around with presentation,
Play
which
with
is what it's all about.
That's great.
Thank
Lovely.
you very much.
Lovely.
Should we have another?
Yeah. Oh, yes, please. Yeah.
Excellent. There you go. Okay, Saskia, let's try something. Just going to use an imaginary deck of cards now.
Yeah.
All right. I won't patronise you by asking you to shuffle them, but we'll imagine they are already mixed. So if you could pick them up for me, and I'll explain what I want you to do. Okay, very important now, you forget everybody else here and you genuinely, please, and I mean this sincerely, do what I ask you to do in your mind. If you don't genuinely follow this and genuinely imagine it just won't work. Alright? So to
I
do
don't
this
do it
for
with
me.
my hands, I just do it.
Well, you act it out sort of thing, but just do what I want you to do is to take that deck and to deal it into 2 distinct piles, like a red pile and a black pile. Alright?
Mm-hmm.
In that you know what colour they are. I don't, for some reason I can't see those cards. So you deal them into 2 piles, a red pile and a black pile, and say it yourself as you do it. Okay, so do that for me now. 2 piles on the table. Yeah, just yourself. 2 distinct piles. Brilliant. That's fine. We'll say that's 52. I appreciate that. Marvellous, right.
Okay.
Pick up the pile you want to use. You know which is which, do you?
Yeah.
Pick up the pile you want to use. Okay. And you've got 2 suits there.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you what they are as we go along, but you just keep track of it in your mind.
Mhm.
All right. So you're either going to have spades and clubs or hearts and diamonds. What I want you now to do is to deal those out into 2 more piles for the different suits,
Mhm.
either spades and clubs or hearts and diamonds. And again, say it yourself as you do it. 2 different piles.
Okay.
Remember which is which. Brilliant. Thank you so much. Again, pick up the one you want to use. We'll get rid of the others. Okay. That was this pile here, was it?
Yes.
Okay, brilliant. So now you've got 1 suit, which I couldn't possibly know. I'm going to ask you to do that one more time, and this time dealing it into odds and evens, all right? Starting with the ace, which we'll take as odd, and ignore the picture cards, because it's complicated, so just the numbers, all right?
Okay.
So 2 piles, starting with ace, which is odd, 2 piles on the table, go. Odds and evens. You done?
Yeah.
Okay, and again, pick up the one you want to use. We're now down to a few cards. All right, get rid of all of these. All right. What you now have, can you remember what they are? Can you keeping track?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Spread them out in front of you like this now. All right. So just imagine they're one next to each other, out there in front of you.
Yeah.
All right. Don't change the order now. Now that you see them there, just keep them exactly as they are. I haven't asked you anything yet, but I'm going to take out a card. In a minute, you are going to start to give away because I'm going to ask you what the cards are. But before we do that, I'm placing a card on the table, and that's there. All right. As you look at this spread of cards, I don't know if they're left to right or right to left, but don't change the order. Get rid of the card on the far left, and get rid of the card on the far right. You done that? So you've got the middle
Yeah.
cards that are left.
Yeah.
Should have 3, I think. 3 cards in the middle.
Yeah.
All right. You keep track.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Reach up and just grab one of those cards and hand it to me. With your left hand. Okay, hand it to me. Okay, what's this card? What am I looking at?
3 of diamonds.
The 3 diamonds. And hand me one with your other hand. What's this one?
7 of diamonds.
All right. So you are now down, I'll get rid of these, to 1 card out of 52.
Yeah.
Right? Which you've just been following in your mind.
Yeah.
And you went down to diamonds, I guess, and you went down to whatever. You down to 1 card, which is the
5 of diamonds.
5 of diamonds. All right, okay. The 5 of diamonds. Cards on the table, not changing anything. Turn it over and freak out. Thank you very much indeed. We got there in the end.
So now we seem to be moving more into mind reading.
Yeah, this is the area that kind of interests me most, and this is the kind of stuff I do if somebody hands me a deck of cards at a party.
But there was no manipulation of cards, right?
No manipulation of
That
cards.
was all in the mind. Sure.
Sure. It's a lengthy dealing procedure, but I think because it's all purely imaginary, I think it works. You get people doing that with real cards, and it's a problem. But in something like this, I think it works. Any idea how I did it?
No, you can't use mathematical principles. You can't.
No, and you're not
can't use a
you're not
preset
asking what
deck.
exactly. You're not asking what they're picking as you're going along. Basically, and there's another trick a bit later on, which is the reverse of this, which will make sense when we see it. But imagine you've got a deck of cards, all right?
Okay.
And genuinely do this and follow it in your mind, all right? Deal them into 2 piles.
This to me. Okay.
Yeah, deal them into 2, red and black. And say it yourself as you do it. Right, remember which is which. That's fine. All right, you done that, and you know which is which. Yeah. Now, there's no way I should be able to know which is which there, but I can tell you, looking at those, that's the red pile, that's the black pile. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Yeah. And that's what you're doing all the way through, and you're just watching what they do. I say to you, deal the cards into 2 piles: a red card and a black pile. Red pile and a black pile, and say it yourself as you do it. And you've got them playing the game properly. You say to them, "I really want you to do what I tell you to do." You know, if you mess about or you don't concentrate, it won't work. But if you really do what I tell you to do, then we'll be able to sort of achieve this together. So they're not going to try and catch you out. So when you say deal them into 2 piles, red pile and a black pile, and say it yourself, if you do it, they're going to go red pile, black pile, red, and whichever one they put down first is the red pile. All right?
Okay. Yeah.
So then you get them to pick up the pile that they want. Say they pick up the red pile.
Oh, that's the red pile.
So say you picked up the red pile. Now I say do the same thing again. I say now you've got. Now if I know you picked up the red pile,
Mm-hmm.
I've got to make sure that you get hearts and diamonds and do the same thing. So I'll say you've either got black cards, spades and clubs, or red cards, hearts and diamonds. So do the same thing, deal them into two piles, spades and clubs or hearts and diamonds, saying it yourself as you do it, same thing again, go. And you've been hearing hearts and diamonds close to the instruction to deal them out.
So hearts.
I said it a couple of times, so you can do the same thing, you can put down hearts first.
Yeah.
Once I see what you're doing, I can look away. I can make it very fair that I'm not looking. As soon as I see where the first card goes down, I don't need to look. All right. So you pick up the suit that you want. So say you pick up hearts, and you keep doing this until you get down to. I would say you pick up.
Just
What's that,
picked up
hearts?
hearts.
All right.
Yeah.
So now I say deal them into odds and evens. Now by this point, it's possible because this is the third deal that they may. Start to kind of go their own way and they may catch you out. So what I do at this point is to reel them back in. I say, okay, deal them out into odds and evens. Ignore the picture cards because that's confusing. All right.
Mm-hmm.
So just the numbers, starting with ace, which we'll say is odd. Right, go. And it sounds like I'm just saying ace is odd because that just to clarify that. But actually, I'm telling them start with ace. They're going to go ace, 2, 3. They're going to do that.
Uh-huh.
And again, you know which is which. So you've done that. So you deal that out.
So you know which is odd and which is even.
Which is odd and which is even. So I now know
You
you're
know the
down
suit.
to. What do you want? You're on. If you picked up one of those, which one would you pick up?
What have I picked up there?
So that's.
The odds.
So you've got odd
Mm.
hearts. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I know you're down to odd hearts. Now, I then say spread them out in front of you, and as I do that, I gesture from your left to your right, which would be the most natural way for you to spread those cards out.
Mhm.
Right? And see them there in front of you. Right? Then I start acting like I don't know what order they might be in. So I say, whatever order you've got them in, don't change them. Okay? But lose the card on the far right,
Yeah.
and lose the card on the far left.
Mm-hmm.
So we're now down to three cards, which is either going to be the 3, 5, the 7, or it's going to be 4, 6, and 8 if you're down to evens, right? And you know the suit. At this point, I pick up the deck and I go for whatever the middle card is of the 3. So I know you are now looking at odd hearts. So I take out the 5 of hearts. So you pick the 5 of diamonds on the tape. There's the 5 of hearts, and I say, in a minute, I will ask you what those cards are, and you'll give away what you're thinking of. But before I ask you anything, I'm going to place this card on the table. So you make it very clear this is going down before you knew anything.
Yeah.
All right. And then what you can do is you can do an equivoque with the final 3 cards, or an equivoque, or whatever, with those last 3 cards. A magician's choice.
Right.
The chances are they'll go for the one in the middle. Before you do that, you can say, now, look at whatever cards you've got. Now, I don't know if you've done them left to right, right to left, or whether you've mixed them all up, but whatever order they're in, keep them there now. Now, that really sells the fact that you cannot know what these 3 cards are.
Mm-hmm.
But in fact, you do, and you know what order they're in. Right? So you say, reach up. I say, reach up with your left hand and just hand me one.
Okay.
All right. Now you went there for the 3, didn't you? I could see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can tell from how they do it as to where they're reaching. But I would probably ask you to be sure. Which one's this. If you said the 5, which a lot of the time they will, then it's like, well, your deck of 52 cards you've handed me this one. There's no way I could know what it is. 5 of hearts, and that matches on the table. If you hand me that one and you say the 3, I say great. And now reach up with your right hand and hand me another one. So what you're doing is you're turning this now into a magician's choice. It's going to leave one. But you're also really pushing them to go for the middle card.
Mm.
They've done one with the left, one with the right. So the pressure now just to... Well, not the pressure, but the chances of them leaving the middle one is enormous. All right? So you've got a very fair... Okay, so we're now down to 1 card out of 52. What is that card? It's the 5 of hearts. In the rare case where they say you handed me the 3 and then you handed me the 5...
Yeah.
Then again, just classic magician's choice. I'd say, okay, so we're down to 2 cards out of 52. Just take any one of them.
Yeah.
And there we go. So you play around with that last... So you took away the 3 then, did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was left with the 5 and I would put that down on the table. I'm left with this one, or if it's the one you took, then I would say take any one you like, and if you took the 5, as soon as I could see you've taken the 5, I'd say put it down on the table. Which one was that? That's the 5, and you turn that over and that's there. So you play around with the last 3 cards.
And it feels, even through explaining it there, it feels very much like there is no pack of cards. I had a completely free choice of 52 cards.
You can always write it down, of course. You don't even need a real card. You can just write down 5 of cards. But the nice thing about this is that you are actually doing what you're saying you're doing. You are actually reading their mind, in a way. You're actually seeing what they're seeing, and you really are seeing the cards in front of them as they imagine them. That's the area that I find most interesting, and a lot of these remaining effects are like that. When you are genuinely doing what you're saying that you're doing. This is similar, but around the other way. It's an invisible deck one again, so you're going to sit through a similar sort of dealing procedure. So I wouldn't do both. I wouldn't do one after the other. But this is around the other way, and you put the card down on the table before you even start.
Okay.
Let's have a look. Chris, let me try something with you. This is it's kind of a card trick that doesn't use any cards. It's just in your mind. So all I ask is that you genuinely follow this and genuinely imagine what I ask you to imagine. All right?
Okay.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to give you a card which I will ask you to put in your pocket without looking at it. So no peeking. Excellent. Excellent. All right. Imagine I have a deck of cards.
Right.
Now, if you try and preempt what that card is, or try and second guess it, or try and just think of your favourite card, it'll be wrong. So don't. Just follow what I'm doing. I've got a deck of cards, and I deal them into 2 piles. So I've got a red pile and a black pile. I'm doing that like this: red pile and a black pile. That's 2 piles. All right. In your mind, get rid of one of those, pick up the other one, and spread them out. So now you're looking at 2 suits. All right. And out of those suits, get rid of the klutzes, the bums, the ones you don't want, and keep the spare. Keep the ones you like. Okay. So keep one suit, get rid of the other. So now you're looking at 1 suit. Does that make sense? Okay, just see that in your mind. And of course you're going to have a whole lot of number cards and a few picture cards. 2 different categories. And get rid of one of those categories so you've only got a few left. Does that make sense? So now you're down to a few cards that you're looking at. Brilliant. Now just look at me and just see that. See it in your mind. If you've got all the number cards, get rid of them all apart from 1. If you've got the picture cards, get rid of 2, get rid of a pair, get rid of a couple, so 1's left on its own. Alright? So you're now down to 1 card out of 52. Which I'm hoping is matching the card that you've got in your back pocket. What is the card you're thinking of at the moment?
Jack of Spades.
Again?
Jack of Spades.
Jack of Spades, which is a free choice. Take out the card in your pocket.
Can get out.
And freak out. Jack of Spades. Thank you very much, Chris.
That's obscene.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay, so it looks similar, but but how?
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 It makes no sense.
It makes no sense because
Right, Jack of Spades. This is a force of the Jack of Spades. The whole thing it just forces the Jack of Spades.
Okay.
Put it on the table, or they put it in their pocket and get it out of the way. And here's how it's done. It's similar to what we did before. It's slightly more difficult. It's the next step up, and you've really got to be on top of the instructions that you give. And the key to it is giving instructions in a way that are you're almost blatantly telling them what you want to do, but you're hiding it in a way that's so casual and so kind of not casual, laid back, but just sort of so. Just sort of rolling off the tongue, and they don't, you're actually giving them quite specific instructions in a way that doesn't sound like you're being very specific, right? So I'll run through it, it'll make sense. I say I've got a deck of cards, and I'm going to deal them into 2 piles, a red pile and a black pile, and I gesture that. So this is around the other way to what we did before. Okay. A red pile and a black pile, okay, I'm doing that now.
Right.
And unconsciously they know that's a red pile, that's a black pile. Alright?
Yeah.
Now, I want you to pick up the black pile. So I turn my back and I say, get rid of one of those piles and just pick up the other one, all right? And as I say, get rid of the other one instead of get rid of the other one. Get rid of the other one, and I brush away the reds that I've just put there. and pick up the other one and spread it out in front of you. Now I'm already on to the next instruction, spread it out in front of you. So they don't have a chance to question which pile they're going to pick up.
They've already got.
Yeah, I don't just say pick up
got
one of
black
them.
cards.
Sorry, pick up one of them and spread it out in front of you, and they just, you're ahead of them already, and they're seeing black cards in front of them.
Yeah.
All right. You've got 2 suits. I'm looking the other way. Don't need to look the other way, but you can do. You've got 2 suits. Now again, this makes no sense when you break it down. What I want them to do is drop the clubs and think of the spades. All right. Now most people will go for spades anyway. You've got a bias in favour of spades, and all of this works just kind of with the bias that people would tend to go with anyway. But the way I do it, which makes no sense, is to say, have a look at the cards. You've got 2 suits, whatever they are. Keep so get rid of the klutzes, the bums, the ones you don't want, and keep the spare. Keep the suit that you prefer. All right. Now that doesn't make any sense, but I say get rid of the klutzes, the bums, the ones you don't want. It doesn't make any sense, but just kind of gets the word clubs across.
Yeah.
And keep the spare, the ones you prefer. All that does, it just nudges them in the direction of getting rid of the clubs and keeping the spades. All right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're now down to 1 suit. And this is quite, you say, so you've either got a whole lot of number cards now and a few picture cards.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So it's 2 categories.
Yeah.
So get rid of one of those categories, so you've only got a few left.
Right.
And through the gesture, through the instructions, just saying get rid of the numbers and keep that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've now got a whole lot of number cards and a few picture cards. All right. 2 categories. So get rid of one of those categories, so you've only got a few left. So you are now down to a few cards. Correct?
Yeah.
They'll say correct, and you're just keeping them. You're keeping them moving. You're not really giving them a chance to think too much.
Yeah.
But it will look and feel absolutely fair, but you're not really giving them that fair chance. So they're now down to the Jack, the King, the Queen of Spades.
Yeah.
And then you say to them, okay, if you've got all the number cards, which you know they haven't, if you've got all the number cards, get rid of them all apart from 1. That sounds so fair, and people will remember that. Nobody else knows what the person's thinking of, so it sounds so fair. If you've got the picture cards left, then get rid of a pair, get rid of a couple that leaves 1 on its own. So imagine they're saying Jack, Queen, King, you're saying get rid of a pair, get rid of a couple that leaves 1 on its own. So that's where the Jack would be. It would be Jack, Queen, King. I'm obviously removing couple, remove a pair. It just nudges them again in the direction of removing the King and the Queen, leaving 1 on its own where the Jack would be anywhere, which would be here. And you're down to the Jack of Spades. Magicians, for some reason, tend to say the Jack of Clubs.
Right.
The Spades and Clubs thing, maybe that doesn't work, or something. Very often I do this and it's Jack of Clubs. So either I change it but down to Jack of Clubs, or I stick with the Jack of Spades, because I know I'd really kick myself if they didn't and they did stick with the Jack of Spades. But either way, you only need to be very close for this to be a real miracle, because you obviously aren't. There's obviously no cheating. You're obviously doing what you're saying you're doing and still able to pull it off. But
It's lovely
that
really
works.
painting it all in the, between us there.
Yeah, thank you. But that is it's a very reliable trick. It may sound like you're just taking a real gamble. We didn't film that 10 times and use the time that worked. I sat down and I did that, and that will work. I would say I've done it for a while. Again, I just talk in a high voice for a moment.
Yeah, please.
But I would say that probably would work about 90% of the time. And if not, would get very close to it. You can tell very early on whether someone's, and the same with the last trick we did. You've got to get someone in that state where they are going to go with you and follow your instructions. And if they're kind of like this, and you go on then, yeah, go on then forget it. Don't do the trick, because it's a bit of a build-up, and if it fails at the end, it's a bit of a letdown. So
getting them into that state, though, is that you use that to heighten the atmosphere and the drama of the performance as well.
yeah,
That
absolutely.
brings a reality to it as well.
Absolutely, saying all those things to people beforehand. If you don't want to do this, then that's fine. But if you do it, you must concentrate. Otherwise, none of this will work. And all those things that get them taking it seriously and gives the effect more space and makes it more dramatic. All of those things very important. Certainly with this kind of stuff, it's like doing. It's because you're working with suggestions, so people have to be in the right state of mind. We move on to some others that again are just forcing specific cards. Yeah, let's have a look at this.
Okay.
Okay, you can look at it now. Don't look at it, just put it in your pocket somewhere. I'll sit on it.
Yeah.
Perfect, alright. Okay, look at me. It's a playing card. Don't look at any of these. It's just you and me. If you try and guess what that card is, you'll probably get it wrong. So I'm going to send you what the card is. I'm seeing it now in my mind. I make the colour bright and vivid, and I'm sending it to you. I'm really visualising it. I'm seeing get a screen in your mind with the low number in the corner, and the things down the centre, the pips or the spots, whatever you call them, the bit down the middle. All right. Look at me. What card are you thinking of?
3 diamonds.
3 of diamonds.
Yeah.
Free choice?
Yeah.
Yeah. Excellent. Have a look. Let's blow you away. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Honestly, do any of you believe in any kind of psychic ability or ESP, telepathy, that kind of thing?
No.
Not
No?
really.
No.
Okay, I don't believe in it at all. None of this is psychic. What this is more to do with my ability to kind of size up your personality, second guess decisions you might make, and try and influence your behaviour, that kind of thing. It's a psychological skill, it's not psychic. Alright? Because I'm just sort of using cards today, I will try this with playing cards. Alright. Lucy, can you just sort of, I know it's a bit of a squeeze, but just sort of try and face me. In fact, do you want to swap places with Saskia so you can come a bit closer? Okay, alright. Let's just try this. I'm going to try and sort of send a playing card to you. Alright?
Right.
I'll take one out, I will commit myself first. This doesn't always work, and if it doesn't work, don't hate me. Put one on the table. I won't touch that now, it's there.
Right.
Okay, come in, relax. Alright. Now, as I do this, I'm going to visualise that the card and the colours sort of very vividly and try and get it across to you. And I'll be seeing the screen in my mind with the corners and the suit and everything vividly in my mind. I'm trying to send it to you now, alright? Don't try and guess or go for your favourite card. I think you've already got one in your mind at the moment. Just visualise it, make it stronger and more vivid, and just see it really clearly in your mind. Have you got a card at the moment? Honestly, and say it clearly, what card are you thinking of?
The 4 of Hearts.
4 of Hearts, which is a free choice, clearly. Look. What made you go for the 4 of Hearts?
I have no idea. I don't know.
So that was another force.
Well, it has to be. If I give him the card before we start, it
Yeah.
has to be a force. But look, you know that if you're doing card tricks to people, there are certain cards that people may naturally go for.
Yeah.
Sort of red cards and hearts and things like that. Or, those sort of high numbers or picture cards that are kind of more popular choices than others. I mean, we both know that. Yeah.
Right.
Or you can try and catch somebody out. In fact, just think of one. Can you get a card in your mind? Can you think of one?
Yeah.
Well, wouldn't it be the perfect mind-reading trick if I just... Don't change your mind. Did you change your mind while we were doing it, or have you stuck with the
No, I've
original?
stuck with the original card.
And what's the card you're thinking of?
4 of clubs.
You're going to give me any leeway here? No, I got it spot on. And we didn't set that up. That is
No,
genuine. Yeah.
no.
And what made you think of? Break it down. Why did you think of the 4 of clubs?
Well, you'd said, I think, because you'd said about obvious ones, maybe.
Yeah.
And reds.
Yeah.
But I wasn't aware that I was only.
No, you
I was
won't
only
really be
thinking
aware of
back
it. But when
now.
you think back, you can think, well, maybe that influenced me. Maybe that influenced me.
But
what-
it still seems like it leaves quite a few cards. Why did you go for the 4 of clubs?
Because I've just done that so often with people that I know that if you start to eliminate those popular choices, the 3 and the 4 of clubs is what they always go for. I could have put down the 3. To magicians, the 3 is a slightly more common number, like 7 or whatever. So I didn't. I went for 4, but you could have easily just said the 3 of clubs. So I said to you, we know that people tend to go for obvious cards, hearts, or picture cards and high values, that kind of thing. That red cards are often more popular. Or you can try and catch someone out. And by doing this, I'm saying to you, catch me out. Don't go for any of those. Go for the opposite. Go for a really obscure one that isn't a high value, isn't a red card, isn't a picture card. and just setting you up to think, okay, what's a really obscure one, and it just works. Just try it. Just try it with people. Now the way those are working on there is slightly different. I have specific forces that I use for specific cards. So the 3 of diamonds.
Yeah.
I say, just get the screen in your mind, and you'll see from the thing. It's just you just move and keep going to the screen. I make a diamond in the air like that. So you see, make a screen in your mind with it's a card. So the little number low in the corner, and I'm saying little number low, and drawing a 3 in the top and the bottom like that. And the things down the middle, the what you call the spots or the pips. And I'm just basically drawing a three of diamonds in the air. And I say to them before, I'll make the colour bright and vivid, which sounds like I'm doing it to help them, but you're saying it's a red card. I get the screen with the 4 corners, and again I make the diamond shape. When you watch it, you'll see it's just a question of just doing it very, very quickly. Just the
And
whole
that's
thing
what-
takes
that's what
a
you
few
did.
seconds. That's all I did there. Same thing with the 4 of hearts. You'll see me making the heart thing, getting the idea of 4 across. It's not foolproof, but you see, the way to think of it is that if you could do it very, very blatantly and say to somebody, I'm going to send you a card. Now, I'm not really going to send you a card psychically, so don't think of anyone, but just watch what I do and see if you can work out what the card is. So, you can do that and then say, so I'm thinking of a card, and I'm thinking of the suit at the moment, and I'm thinking of the thing, you can make it absolutely blatant, which would be ridiculous. Now, that's one extreme.
Yeah.
The other extreme is that you just think 3 of diamonds in your mind and just talk and hope that it comes out somehow. What you've got to do is just get it just on the line, where you're in fact sort of blatantly throwing all this information at them and telling them what to do, but doing it in such an offhand kind of manner, such a fair manner, and such a quick manner that doesn't really give them a chance to think too much, that they don't think that's what you're doing. They will feel manipulated by it sometimes.
Right.
I mean, I don't know how you felt with that, but often with this kind of stuff, they will.
I felt led. I felt led into it, but not in. But that's only being aware of what you're doing, like when you were explaining.
Yeah,
and you
but if not,
said,
if we
"Oh, you
had-
can catch me out," and that just feels like it draws me in.
It makes you want to catch me out
Yeah,
suddenly.
yeah.
Without me saying, go on, try and catch me out.
Yeah.
With the stuff where you're making all these gestures, they will feel a bit more manipulated by it. But again, it's fine because you are doing what you're saying you're doing. This is actually the genuine skill of being able to influence you and put an idea in your mind. Rather than faking that, you are actually doing it. With a deck of cards, you are actually doing it.
These techniques are obviously effective, but how do you practice something like that? How do you practice? I mean, cards, you can just sit in front of a mirror and practice. Do you do this in front of a mirror? Or do you...
No, I think you just have to do it by... I mean, the way I got started with this was going up to a table with the Queen of Hearts and saying to a lady, I want you to think of... it's interesting how I can, cards that people pick say things about people's personalities. So let me just try this with you. I want you to name your favourite card. They're not like the Ace of Spades. Everyone says an ace or a spade for some reason. So what might that be? What would you
Queen
say?
of Hearts.
Queen of Hearts. Well done. And I just started doing that a lot. And by saying that cards say something about our personalities, you're cueing her to think of something that she thinks will reflect something about her. So she's not going to say 3 of clubs there. There's no reason to. All right. So that immediately kind of begins to, Queen of Hearts has already been suggested quite a lot, or Queen of Diamonds. You said, don't say the Ace of Spades. Everyone says an ace or a spade. But again, you're pushing them now. Go to a red card. And and saying your favourite card as well, not just name a card, but name your favourite card. So I used to try that, and a lot of the time I would find that word. I had a lighter with the Queen of Hearts engraved on it,
Right.
and I would say to someone who was smoking, I'd light the cigarette, do that spiel on them, and get them to blow smoke on my lighter. And if they didn't say the Queen of Hearts, I'd go into something else. If they did, I'd flip the lighter around, and it just looked like it appeared on the side of the lighter, engraved, which is lovely. So you just practice that by giving yourself an out, so it doesn't matter if they say another card.
Right.
If they say the 5 of diamonds, you're like, 5 of diamonds, okay, let's try something, and you pull out a 5 of diamonds and go into a different routine.
But with those effects, you're forcing a card. You cut the card on the table.
Yeah,
How
but
do
you
practice
but
those
no, but
things,
you don't
or
want to
is
be
this
doing that
something that's
until
developed? So it's something you have to develop. You have to go through stages and practice.
I didn't start doing that and committing myself and saying this will be the card until I'd done it long enough to know how to handle, because it's just handling people instead of handling cards.
Right.
which is, a far greater skill for a magician anyway. It's, being able to handle people is as important, equally as important as being able to handle cards. And this is just a very people-orientated
Well,
type
so
of
the
trick.
way that you're using words, I mean, I've seen magicians, I've done it myself, that have gone up to a table and gone, oh, had the Queen of Hearts, just gone, okay, think of a card, or name your favourite card.
Mm.
Oh, it's the Queen of Hearts. But already with that, you were making it much more personal, much more engaging for them, I felt, with
Well, I
the
hope
words
so.
you were using there. So it
But-
seems very much that this all comes from your personality.
I think so, yeah. I think anybody that just, say with this kind of stuff in particular, just went, okay, think of and just tried to copy it, it wouldn't work. You've got to find how it, all this stuff is just born from me and from just doing stuff and talking to people and doing other tricks with people and just trying little things out. It doesn't come from me reading, a book on the subject and then sitting at home at a card table and working out a trick. It doesn't come from that. So it's anybody that does this kind of thing, it would have to come from their own personality and their own character, their own way of talking, their own rhythm of talking, the sorts of things they feel they can comfortably say. And it should feel effortless. It should feel effortless when you do it, which is a kind of a key that you've probably got a clue that you've probably got it right.
So it is something that people have to build up themselves through performance.
Yes, and I think that is, goes beyond just doing these mind reading things to all of card magic. I don't do a lot of tricks I used to do because they don't really appeal anymore. I don't do. I mean, like the olive water I showed you earlier on. I just haven't done that for a very long time. I haven't done an ambitious card routine for a long time, and all those things that are sort of old classics. I mean, they're great, but they don't really suit me anymore. So I think, well, what suits me? When I walk up to a group of people, and or if they come and sit with me or whatever, and I'm creating this thing for them. How do I want them to feel? Do I want them to feel really pampered, like this is really something kind of rich and special and lovely, or is it more about just having a bit of fun, or what? And once you decided what it is, you have to really create that. And an ambitious card routine where it may work if you're one type of performer, won't necessarily work if you're that type or my type or whatever. So you just pick stuff that absolutely fits you, and then you have to be ruthless about that. With the mind reading stuff I do, I know how I do the mind reading in my mind. I'm reading it from your signals or whatever, and I don't do any type of mind reading effect that can't be explained through that or doesn't look like that. I just don't do it. If I do a book test, I do it by photo reading the book first. I will sit for 20 minutes reading through the book, and then say, okay, go on, test me, open it up any way you like, and that makes sense of the book test, as opposed to saying, open it up any way you like and I'll tell you what word you're thinking of. Well, then why don't you just ask me to think of a word? So that's what I think.
It's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Well,
Lovely
thank
evening.
you for coming.
I feel pampered and rich.
Do you?
Enriched.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
it's
good.
lovely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being had by me. It was a pleasure. Excellent.
I'm sure you'd agree. And just enough time for something of a small balloon animal, something of a balloon animalette. I'm sure you'd agree. Ouch! That hurt. Here we go. Here we go. One tube of air, thus allowing me to blow up the balloon, if I wanted to. As indeed I do. So, here we go. One balloon, no less. I'm sure you'd agree. Blowing it up in the fairest possible manner. Here we go. Fucking hell! I can't see. One balloon. Here we are. Here we go. Here we go. Now, twisting the balloon in a variety of interesting and amusing shapes. Oh, Mrs. Shut up, Mrs. Here we are. My wife, so, she's so fat that, that she really is extraordinarily large. There we are. Michael Amar. Here we are, sir. Have a balloon. It's all okay. It's okay. It'll always be with you. Always be with you. It's all okay. What could be more comforting? Nothing at all. I'm sure you'd agree. Thank you. Go away. Yeah.